I am your host, Ryan Fravel, with my co-host, Ben. Sean is not with us again. He's got some other stuff going on. But we are back for another show, this time after another W, the second straight win for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the road at Arkansas, 56-13. And what my favorite phrase, belt to ass. That's what that was from start to finish. What were your thoughts watching the game, Ben?
Nope, it was a lot of good. I kind of felt like this was going to be one of the outcomes. One outcome was, of course, that we were going to just be an absolute shootout, and it was going to end like 50-45 or something, like something crazy like that. That was one of the outcomes I expected. This was another outcome where our offense was so good, and our defense was able to get stops early on to get Arkansas off schedule, and kind of get them kind of forcing things that they didn't need to force, and us getting stops and us keep scoring out. Our offense is possibly a top 5 offense in college football. It's just one of those things where we just don't have a good defense right now.
Yeah. So, and me and T29 kind of talked about this in the group chat last night. And I thought, like, I maybe overstated it when I said I saw a drastic improvement from the defense because it was such a low bar that they had to cross. To me, holding Arkansas to 13 points is drastically better than giving up 30 to Purdue. Now, you look at the yardage, I think we gave something like 365 total yards of offense to Arkansas, which isn't great. But I also kind of look at it was Arkansas was the number one offense in college football heading into that game, and you held them to 13 points. Now, granted, I think in the second half, I think the entire team just kind of gave up in the second half. So I think that's part of it. But I just think for a defense that was struggling to stop a nosebleed, to hold Taylor Green in that offense to 13 points, even with all the yardage they gave up, that's still impressive compared to what they were.
That's the big thing with me. We still gave up a lot of yards. I guess it's more of like the idea that we were kind of in bend don't break, which when they're going for 4th and 8, like that's kind of what you expect. A lot of yards given up, but not a lot of points scored. So it was a lot of, in the beginning, I felt more confident with us being able to get. If we're able to do that against every team we play for the rest of the season, we're able to go out, get good stops at the beginning of the game, and our offense goes and scores, then we're going to be great. We're going to be set for great things. But we have to do that every single game. And also, we don't know if we're going to get in these situations where teams are going for it on 4th and 8. We don't know that. We also don't know if we're going to be in situations where our offense has got to put up damn near 60 points.
Yeah. This is, back-to-back weeks they've dropped 56. I do think, like you said, this offense is arguably top 5 in the nation. I look at Texas A&M's defense, right, and a lot of people were like, well, maybe Texas A&M defense isn't that good. You watch them against Auburn. Now, granted, Auburn doesn't have the greatest offense in the world. They've got some really good receivers. But you saw what they did against Auburn, where they just completely shut down Auburn. I still think them dropping 41 on Texas A&M is super impressive. Or not 41, 40. Couldn't get 41 because of Tyler Buchner. But
shout out his sister. She scored a goal.
Hey, shout out Tyler Buchner's sister for scoring.
She was able to make sure Notre Dame got 1 point on the board.
Maybe put her back at holder, man. But no, I think this is the game that Notre Dame needed after the way the season started. The game against Purdue, which there was a lot of frustration. You could tell from Freeman, the staff, the fan base, to just go out there and just completely obliterate your opponent wire to wire. And granted, people are going to say it's just Arkansas. They're not that good. They're 2-3. They just fired their head coach. Realistically, I think this Arkansas team is better than what the record says. They realistically should have beat Memphis. Ole Miss, I can't really give them because, like we talked about earlier, that was a 14-point game with like.
It was 2 minutes left. It was a 14-point game, and then Arkansas went down the field and scored.
Yeah, so they should at least have been 3-1 going into that game. And to me, you saw how good Ole Miss was against LSU. I think Arkansas was a good team. I think at this point, what happened against Memphis, I think the team just kind of quit. They knew their coach was getting
Probably fired. Yeah.
And I think they had nothing. And then the minute that Notre Dame had that 21 points scored in the final 3 minutes of the first half, I think that's where they just kind of gave up. You go watch that play with the Price, that the final touchdown before half. You can't tell me those guys were giving full effort.
Yeah. Well, the big thing, and we could compare us against Ole Miss. It's like, oh well, Ole Miss. I don't think Ole Miss's defense is that good. I think their offense is really good. That's why I think they were able to beat LSU, is because of how good that offense is. Because LSU's defense is that good. I just think LSU's offense is that bad, even though they have. It's Brian Kelly. Like, he needs to hire better OCs. Like, Garrett Nussmeier somehow regressed, but they still have Kelly Anderson, one of the best wide receivers in the country.
Yeah.
Or Ken, is it Ken Anderson or Kelly?
I think is it Nick Anderson?
Nick Anderson.
Nick.
Stephen Anderson. They have Anderson, one of the best receivers in the country. So I'm not going to completely just say, like, oh, we're automatically better than Ole Miss. But at the end of the day, we went out there. This is a Power 4 team. This is one of those teams, and I got shit for it. I said that, hey, you know what? This is a team that an SEC school says, oh, well, you didn't have to go into Arkansas week 6 after a fucking bludgeoning of games and playing the SEC. We're getting that game now. This is where I think if we see this Notre Dame team for the rest of the season, the ability to get the big stops early, get the big plays early, and then allow our offense to take over, I think that we can make the playoffs. Because what it's turning out to be right now is you're slowly starting to see what teams aren't really that good, what teams are that good.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly starting to see it. Now, if Ole Miss goes out there and wins the SEC, it's completely different. And I'm 100% wrong. I just don't think Ole Miss is going to win. Got to be a 10-win team this year. They have a tough schedule. LSU probably around the same now. I had LSU being a one-loss team going into the SEC championship. I don't think they make the SEC championship anymore, and they might be a 3-loss team. There's just so many problems with how we're looking at it right now of college football, looking at the teams that have to play. Alabama, I hear people saying Alabama's, oh, well, they're at least a 2-loss team. I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, they probably beat Vandy, but are they going to win the other games they have to win? We don't know. Are they
There's so much.
No.
There's so much unknown right now in the season because, like, what was the overreaction when Florida State blew out Bama week 1?
It was Florida State was back and Alabama's falling apart.
And now we see the reverse of that, where Florida State loses to an unranked Virginia team, which, by the way, that Virginia team is sneaky good. I wish that Notre Dame had them on the schedule.
They're an okay team. I don't want to have them on the schedule because that doesn't help our resume because they're not going to be ranked.
You don't think that with their offense that they can score on pretty much anybody, and their defense
I want them to be, if we play them, I want them to be ranked, and because then that's a win. The only thing that can do it can only lead to bad things with them being unranked and them being sneaky good.
Yeah, and then when you see Alabama go out there and beat Georgia again, it's just weird. You know, this weekend was kind of a weekend in narratives because Penn State loses yet another big game against Oregon. Alabama beats Georgia, which the whole narrative is that Georgia just can't beat Bama for whatever reason. And man, to me, it's like there's so many unknowns right now. I don't really want to talk about playoffs. Like, as a fan, I don't want to sit here and be like Notre Dame in playoff, right? Because I still think there's a long way to go. We still need to see a lot of improvement with the defense. The offense, to me, is playoff caliber right now. The defense needs some work, but I do think, just because we are on a show, I guess we'll kind of talk about it briefly.
Well, the big thing with me is that you look at Florida State. Now you have Florida State, who has one loss, and they had problems in that game. It wasn't, they were just getting completely out. They're getting their asses handed to them. So now you're going to have them go against Miami this week. They're going to have to bounce back. They're going to have to win this game against Miami. They really are. Like, because they're going to want to make the ACC championship. They don't play Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech, probably with one loss being to Miami, is going to make it in now to the ACC championship. Assuming Georgia Tech doesn't lose, or even with 2 losses, and one of them being Miami, another team. And then you got to look at games like Clemson. Clemson, even though we don't think Clemson's that good, just tell me that's not a college football fan. Like, a team that's underperformed all year gets a bounce back against the top 15 team. Like, that's Like, it puts these things in situations where, hey, this is where teams could make mistakes, Notre Dame could pounce and make the playoffs. Also,
Yeah.
the Big 12, it's looking like it's got to be a league now, where it's not got to be a 2-win team's going to win the Big 12. It might be a 3-win team or a 3-loss team. Oh my God, let me repeat that. It doesn't look like a 2-loss team is going to win the Big 12 unless it's Texas Tech. It's looking like it's got to be a 3-loss team win the Big 12.
Yeah. I think, and I've seen a lot of projections, and a lot of it's came down to like Notre Dame at 10-2 versus an Indiana team that's 10-2. Who do you put in? And 10-2 Notre Dame. But that's for the final spot. That's who they're like. That's the projections. I think they had like 5 SEC teams. You had Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon in there. I think they had Illinois, not Illinois. There was somebody else that got in. 2 ACC teams got in. They had Florida State and Miami getting in. And to me, it's like if you're Notre Dame, right? And I was listening to Ari talk about this on him and Andy show. And I get where he's coming from, where it's not a lock, because I don't think it's a lock. There are some people in our fan base that are acting like it is if we go 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we saw Saturday, Notre Dame needs to replicate against everybody else to leave no doubt. Because, for example, like I think when we play USC, especially with how USC fumbled the bag against Illinois, USC
we need to beat USC by 2 possessions. That's why I think
at least
yeah.
That game can't be close. And when we play
Navy, I think it could be close, but I think it has to be at least a 2-possession game.
I'm saying like it can't be like where we're struggling from wire to wire and we win by like 3. I don't think you can do that and be like, oh, that's an impressive win. You know what I mean? Like that. Outside of USC, I think you need to have scores like this. I think when we play Boise, you need to probably put 40 plus on Boise. Win by 20 plus. You need to, well, who do we play after USC? It was like our Navy, I'd imagine. Is it Navy? I'm trying to think who was on the schedule.
I know we go to Pitt.
But yeah, like, and just in general, like, I think you got to win this way. And
after it's USC, and then it's going to Boston College, which might be a trap game. Then it's Navy, then it's at Pitt.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that stretch of games is where and I think if we game past USC, that 3 stretches of games is where I'm most scared about.
Going to Chestnut, yeah.
Going to Chestnut, it's going to be the biggest game of their season, realistically. I don't think Boston College plays a single ranked team. And they're not good, but they're going to sell it out. They have athletes. Actually, they lost to Stanford. They're really not good. But it's the biggest game of their season, realistically.
Yeah.
At home. Right now, tickets are selling for $240 a piece, so they're going to give a shit a lot about that game. That scares me. The Navy game scares me in a way where I could just definitely see it being like something stupid happens and it's really close. I don't think we lose it, but it's something where it kind of hurts your resume winning a close game. And then the Pittsburgh game scares me because Pittsburgh looked good this past week without their number 1 running back. And that's something that scares me on the defensive side. We could put up 40 points, but if they get into a game where they're going to run it down our throats the whole time and we can't get a stop, and we're not going to be able to put up 40 points. We're not going to get enough possessions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same, but I think Navy, I'm not as much, mainly because I think that'll be the one.
Be a resume killer.
Yeah. I think that Navy for that one, right? I think that would be the one game where Chris Ash was like, we're not going to run zone because you don't run zone against a triple option style offense. I think we would see more of a traditional Notre Dame, and I'm not really fearful of Navy's passing game, although I know Horvath can throw the ball. So that one I'm not too as, but the thing I did think was interesting, and I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this, because many people were talking. Obviously, it's not a big deal, but people came out. And I was surprised. Like I wasn't expecting some crazy jump, but us only moving up 1 spot for winning by 40 against an SEC team on the road, like. I'm honestly surprised that we didn't jump at least inside the top 20.
I'm just looking at the top, how it went. Let me pull it up. There were some things I did see. It kind of made sense to me. But I also could definitely see it being like, hey, like Arkansas, they're a two-loss team. Two-loss team. Jesus Christ. Sorry. They're a two-loss team. Like Michigan, I feel like they're setting it up for Michigan to possibly move down. Illinois went up a spot. BYU going ranked. I feel like it has a lot to do with like the teams that went in high up. Like you're not going to drop us below Florida State, or you're not going to drop Florida State below us. You're not going to drop Georgia Tech below us, even after a win. You're not going to drop Michigan below us with a loss. And Missouri has to stay above it. Like I'm fine with us being above one loss, like Big Ten, and then one loss teams that have big wins. I'm fine with us being like that, compared to us being above Florida State. Maybe you could make an excuse for us being above Vandy, because Vandy really, South Carolina, if that win ends up being a good win, like maybe that. Maybe Missouri too, because Missouri, who have they played?
Their best win, South Carolina too.
Oh yeah, so both of their best wins are a 3-2 South Carolina team who realistically like don't have amazing wins. Like they're not going to be ranked at the end of the season unless something turns around. So I could definitely see that, but I'm not really. Oh, you have the rankings right here. Oh, I was looking at ESPN.
So do you think like because the only thing that concerned me with it was obviously things will change. These teams will all lose more games going on in the season. But it does concern me. It's like, what is if Notre Dame wins by 40 against an SEC team on the road and we only move up one spot? What does that say if we continue to do this against lower level competition? Are we just going to continue to just slide up one spot at a time? Is it just going to be because I mean, even some teams jumped over us this week in the rankings.
Like, a lot of the teams that jumped over us were either one-loss teams with top who beat Florida State, or we're actually the rest of them were just Virginia. Virginia didn't even jump over us. Who jumped over us?
I think
anyone did.
Was it? No, you're right. Never mind.
Yeah, but we jumped everybody. We didn't jump anybody.
Yeah, the other one I'd have a problem with, and this is just because I don't really think they're that good of a team, is Iowa State. I get it. They're like I think they're 5-0.
Yeah, they're 5-0.
Their best win is what? Like Iowa?
Or Iowa, yeah.
And they didn't even they won that game like 16-13. I don't know. It's kind of griping.
Just looking at the schedules that we have here. Tennessee, Alabama. Okay, so both Tennessee and Alabama have to play Oklahoma. And they play each other. So there's at least, I think Oklahoma's the best team in the SEC. They're looking like it at least. I think it's either them, A&M, or maybe Ole Miss, or maybe Georgia. I'm out on Georgia right now just because they lost. But realistically speaking, they're going to have to, one of those teams is going to be a 3-loss team. If it's Tennessee loses to Alabama and Oklahoma, or if it's Alabama loses to Tennessee, Oklahoma, one of them will be a 3-loss team now. Other things, LSU's schedule. They have to play A&M. I think A&M beats them. They have to play Georgia. I think Georgia beats them. There's parts in there that can lead to, or no, LSU doesn't play Georgia. Who does LSU play? They play somebody.
LSU plays A&M. I know that.
A&M.
Mm-hmm.
The game, I thought that was a guaranteed loss for A&M.
They played Bama, don't they?
Oklahoma and Bama.
Yeah.
They're probably going to lose to Oklahoma. They're probably going to, I don't know if they'll lose to Bama. They'll probably lose to Oklahoma and A&M. That's another 3-loss team. We're going to slowly, and at the beginning, it felt like, it's kind of hard for us to do it. Like, we don't know how many 3-loss teams it will be. It's slowly we'll see 3-loss teams come around. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.